Halo Infinite is in the middle of a massive comeback, a massive one, an absolutely massive one. This game was dead a year ago. Everyone was done with it. No one wanted to play it. It was like, where is this going? It's free to play. It's full of microtransactions. There's no new content coming out, and the content that does come out is not very good. But how did we get to this point? What happened to Halo Infinite for it to have this epic comeback that no one really saw coming? Well, to figure that out, we have to go back to the start. When 343 was created, their sole goal was to make Halo games. Obviously, 343. But they weren't having a very good time at it, okay? They weren't. Halo 4 was received fairly okay. Most people weren't happy with it, but people were like, ah, it was their first attempt. Let's wait for Halo 5. Halo 5 comes out. It's a disaster. Just all of it, disaster. No one liked it. No one liked it. Apparently the multiplayer was really good, but I never played it, so no one liked it. So 343 decided, you know what, let's take a step back. We're going to go away for a couple years. Those couple years turned into 6 years before a new Halo game would come out. They promised to go back to the original feeling of Halo, the original art style, a really good story, and a multiplayer that is focused around community. Did they succeed in that? I don't know, let's talk about it. The hype was through the roof for Halo Infinite when it was finally announced in 2018 with its reveal trailer, it being open world, set on a Halo ring, and has its old art style back. The hype was through the roof. Everyone was basically pining to see what the gameplay would be like. What is the future of Halo at this point? What has 343 been cooking for so long? But then it took a year before we actually got to see anything else. And unfortunately, what we saw wasn't even gameplay, really. It was a cinematic. I mean, I can't lie though. This, look, I mean, just look at it. That shit is pretty damn cool, I can't even lie. So waiting a year just for a cinematic was a bit disappointing for a lot of people, but it was just enough Halo for people to, you know, be okay, they're doing something right. This feels like Halo, this looks good, the graphics are good, the soundtrack's good, the art style's good, the Chief armor looks great, and there's just a lot of build up, and there's some great lines in there as well. So the trailer did its job, and then the gameplay got revealed. I still remember the reaction to it. Let's be honest, that gameplay demo that they revealed for E3 was not very good at all. It did not do the game justice in any real way. The gameplay looked a lot slower than the actual product we got back in 2021. And we can't forget about Craig. Craig, I love you, man. I love you. But basically, the gameplay reveal didn't do very well. It kind of scared a lot of people because it did look mediocre. The graphics didn't look quite as good as everyone expected. It was going to be held back by the original Xbox One. And basically everything that people were hyped about for this game was starting to dwindle a little bit after the gameplay was shown. Because at the end of the day, you can have the good art style. You can have some great lines in your script. You can have some great acting. You can have some great music. You can have a big open world. But if the gameplay itself doesn't feel like Halo, it's all for nothing. Nothing. No one's going to care. No one's gonna care. So 343 did what was probably the most responsible thing they'd ever done since they started making Halo games. They delayed it. And it was a hefty delay. It was about a year, if I remember correctly. They delayed it about a year. Thank God they did. Now, of course, this is where all the rumors started about cut content, 343 crunching, etc, etc, etc. But we'd never know until the game actually launches. But 343 did something very ballsy. 343 decided to make Halo multiplayer free to play. That is a good thing and also a bad thing. I predicted it right when they announced it. They released it the same day they announced it was going to be free to play, and everyone started playing it. Like the player count was through the roof. Everyone was hyped. Everyone on Steam, Xbox, it doesn't matter. Everyone was playing it. It felt good. The multiplayer felt good. The multiplayer finally launches. It's free to play. Let's fucking go. You're running around. Pew pew pew. Fucking spanker. Sniper. Invincibility with the overshield, pistol, just feels like Halo again. It feels like Halo again. And I'm a guy that only started playing Halo in 2018, so I cannot imagine how you guys felt when you were playing in 2007, 2004, you know what I mean? The original days of Halo when I was 4 years old and could barely take a shit in my toilet, you know what I mean? So it's unprecedented that this was finally what Halo needed. The maps were very decent. You were jumping around, you were sliding around, it wasn't too movementy, there wasn't too much advanced movement, but it felt modern, but it still felt like Halo. And this is just the launch of the beta. Well, there's so much more that could happen, right? No. So everyone was excited for launch because obviously the campaign hadn't come out and the official release date wasn't until December, I think it was December 16th or something like that. And then the game launched.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh god. The reviews were very nice for Halo Infinite. It was very nice. But the community side of it were not happy at all. The multiplayer was just the beta. They released basically the entire multiplayer experience in one go. It quickly dwindled, as I said, with the player count dwindling, and it was really obvious to see why. People were just not having fun with it anymore. It's the same thing over and over again on the same maps with the same game modes. Half the time you couldn't even pick the game mode you wanted to play because it was all in this weird playlist. The ranked system didn't really work properly, and ranked was really boring. Every time they added a game mode in, like Fiesta, they quickly removed it. Like there was no idea. They were adding things in and removing things, which is not what the game needed. They needed to add things and leave it there. Just leave it there. You've done the work. So just leave it in the game. But they couldn't do that. They had to be free to play. They had to be live service where you get a bit of content every now and then they remove it so they don't have to work on it again, but they can put it back in and act like they made new content. You know what I mean? It's a money-saving tactic, and it sucks. And it sucks, and it sucks, and it sucks. But despite all the controversy, Halo was still somewhat alive. People were still playing it, just nowhere near as many people as there were when it first launched. But the campaign was also received fairly well. I quite enjoyed it on my first playthrough until I realised it is basically Far Cry Halo, which is not a good thing to say about a Halo game, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was a fun experience the first time round, and you know, the more you replay a game, the less you're really gonna like it, because those flaws start appearing a bit more often. And there are a lot more flaws with Halo Infinite than I think a lot of the reviewers, you know, fairly criticized. There's a lot of problems with that campaign. I'm not going to get into it. We'll hear about why it's on the rise, okay? But if you want a proper Halo review, let me know. Oh yeah, if you're new here, stick with the Sticky Man by subscribing. Just tap the button. I'd really appreciate that. Like the video if you did enjoy the video. And remember, we have a Discord now. There's a Discord link in the description. There is a whopping 3 people, including me, in there right now. So you could be the 4th person, 5th person, 6th person. So click on that link, join, and you know, come and have a chat with us. It'll be great. But it was very safe to say that Halo, once again, was back on the decline, and 343 were looking dead. They were just looking dead. There was no other way to explain it. Like, if you thought Craig was bad, I'm sure 343 were panicking inside, just, oh my god, it's fucking terrible. 343 were panicking, okay? There's no other way to describe it. There was no new content coming out. People weren't happy with the content that was currently in the game, and the player count was dwindling every single day, and it was going quick. On top of that, you had hackers already, you had desync as well for hit reg. Hit reg is quite important for a first person shooter, and Halo Infinite didn't have very good hit reg, and it had a lot of desync, which caused a lot of other issues. Plus then you got the streaming side of the gaming industry. The less I talk about it, the better, but I think streaming overall has affected games negatively, but you know, it is what it is. It's an industry now. You're never going to really make a multiplayer game without having to think about streamers, which is very fucking annoying, but hey, it is what it is. Everything was just going down, 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 and this was for like a year and a half straight. Everything was just going down. Didn't matter what 343 did. They could add in more content. No one cared. They tried to add in some sort of story content to the multiplayer rather than adding story content to the single player. It just didn't make any sense. The direction at 343 just wasn't delivering on what needed to be done. Xbox finally did what they had to do, or Microsoft, whatever you want to call them. The leadership at 343 would be completely changed after 10 years, 9 or 10 years of incompetent leadership with direction that is clearly not in favor of the Halo IP. They finally switched leadership, and that is probably the best decision they've ever made. Well, why is that? Well, it's quite simple. The new leadership actually got shit done. We're talking Forge. We're talking Forge maps added into multiplayer. We're talking about Halo 3 legacy maps being added in as a playlist. We're talking season passes that are actually worthwhile. We're talking cosmetics that you can actually unlock in-game without having to go into the store and buy them for 10 quid each. We're talking giving the community what they want. It's basic stuff, but they weren't doing it, and now they are, and look at the player count. I think the biggest mistake 343 did make was making Halo multiplayer free to play. The whole idea of free to play is to keep as many players playing and spending in the not the Microsoft Store, the the digital store for cosmetics and all that crap. But Halo just didn't have that power. You know what I mean? You're going up against giants like Fortnite, Warzone, as well as other free-to-play games that I probably don't even play or have even heard of, but they still make millions of dollars every day. You know what I mean? Halo just didn't have that power. Halo was known as like a single player and co-op game where you go into the campaign and you blast a load of AI enemies and then you hop into the multiplayer and have a blast on that until the next game comes out. Whereas Halo Infinite had a clear focus on just the multiplayer at this point. Co-op wasn't even added to the campaign until like a year and a half later, which is kind of insane to think about. I want to be shooting people, I want to be punching them in the back, I want to have the sniper rifle, I want the spanker. You know what I mean? You just want that. You don't want the over-the-top movement. You don't want this like overly complicated level design. You want simple level design. This is meant to be like an arcade shooter. You know what I mean? It was meant to bring arcade shooters back, where you're in a 4v4 situation on a small, medium-sized map where you can just run around and just pew pew pew, team up and throw grenades and throw stickies and just fucking slide across and then just fucking pick up the shotgun and you know what I mean? That's what you want. And Halo Infinite did deliver on that in some ways, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to keep people's attention. It wasn't enough to keep players coming back. And at the end of the day, there just wasn't enough content coming out, especially for a free-to-play game. Now let's talk about the store. Halo's multiplayer has always been simple. Like I said, it was always about shooting people and doing that, unlocking cosmetics, showing off this cool armor that you've got after doing a really hard challenge. That was one of the biggest, enticements of Halo. And they removed all of that in favor of a digital store. No one likes digital stores, man. No one likes microtransactions. It's just a fact. No one likes them. No one likes them. But all of the cool shit that you can get is in that store. There is no incentive to play well. There is no incentive to be competitive. And that brings us to 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, as of 2023, under this new leadership, pretty much everything's been changed. The store is still there, but it's not quite as focused on as before. You've got Forge maps entering the arena now. Forge maps, yeah, they can be a bit shitty sometimes, but the ones that do get in are usually very good. Like I said, you've got that Halo Free playlist that is fantastic at the minute. It's being removed on the 5th of December, which is actually in a couple days, but it's still going into the playlist. I mean, the difference in the amount of content that you actually have now compared to the launch of Halo Infinite is kind of staggering. Like this basic thing of adding in old Halo Free maps to boost the map count is something that the old 343 couldn't even fathom. They couldn't even fathom it. It just doesn't make any sense, but now it's here. It's great. People are having a blast. People are coming back to the game in droves in a lot of ways. In October alone, the player count increased to I think it was 12,000 concurrent players. There it is. Boom. Woo, baby. Look at that. Might not be 12,000, but it's close enough. But here's the reality, my friends. How long can this last? We've gone from the rise of Halo Infinite to the fall of Halo Infinite, and now we're on the rise again. But how much further can it go? That is the question. The game has been out for nearly 2 years already. It's 2 years already. And this was meant to be a 10-year game or something that they said, which is funny because Bungie said the same thing about the original Destiny and it just doesn't work out. But how much further can it really go? Do we see a real future for Halo Infinite, or should they just move on to another Halo game? They've already cancelled single-player DLC, which in my opinion is a good thing because I really don't like how the story was told in Halo Infinite. I don't like that it's really contained and just kind of just there. It's like a flat surface. It's like, go here, do this, go here, do this, go here, do this. There's no politics. There's no world building. There's nothing. It's just bleh. It's just bleh. You know what I mean? So that's good. But the multiplayer wise, what is in the future of Halo Infinite? Because I can't personally see where it could go. And while they're not full circle just yet, while Halo isn't full circle at this moment in time, it is looking very good. They've already announced a new wave of content being added in the next month or two, I believe, or maybe next week. I don't know. There's so much content being added in, it's hard to keep track. So despite its rise and fall, it is rising again, okay? And that gives me hope for what the future of Halo could be. It gives me hope for what 343 now have in store with us under this new leadership. I hope they're working on a new campaign. I hope they're working to just bring Halo back again for like the third time. There's been so much. There is not a gaming franchise out there at this moment in time that I can think of at the top of my head where you can fail massive AAA releases 3 times and still the fan base wants to give you another chance. There is not many franchises that get that luxury. There is not that many studios that get that luxury. So I swear, 343, for the love of God, don't fuck it up. You're in a good moment right now. You know, you got a good high going, but you know, you're always gonna have your low moments. But make sure those low moments are quick, subtle, easy to get out of, and then just get back up there and release a sequel in the next like 3 or 4 years, because it needs one. Halo Infinite can't last on its own. You need a brand new Halo game. Okay, but yeah, that's just me. So that, my friends, was the rise, fall, and rise again of Halo Infinite. I just hope that this video ages well and not poorly, because Halo dies like next week or something, I don't know. But yeah, thank you for watching, I really appreciate that. Like the video if you did enjoy it, subscribe to stick with the Sticky Man, and join the Sticky Round by hitting the Discord link down below. Thank you very much, this has been fun. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.